You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
Well, I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show with the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. The phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. We don't have any new callers today, so let's just get started with AA Ron.
Hey, Ryan, AA Ron from Eau Claire.
Yo.
So last night I was listening to the post-game show on ESPN with Mark Tauscher and Homer, and they had some call-ins, and one of the fans was like, these Packers are in big trouble. Next week against the Steelers, Mike Tomlin's going to just absolutely dominate them. And I just don't understand that mentality. I don't understand that way of thinking. It's so gloom and doom, and there's no real basis for it. So there were some struggles, but the Steelers have struggled in games too. I mean, last week, Aaron Rodgers threw 2 picks. It's not like the Steelers are some immortal team that nobody can beat. So I guess I don't understand. Not even the day of the game, like a week out after winning a game on the road and having a big comeback victory at the end, to just say it's over. These Packers are terrible. They're going to be like, if they were terrible, they wouldn't have made the stops that they needed to at the end. They wouldn't have converted on 4th down and run it in for a touchdown. Something at the end of that game got activated. I felt like there was just like a mentality change. They were like, we have to do this, and they did it. And I don't know. I guess I just don't. It just bothers me so much to hear fans be like, we're done, we're toast. Like, I don't really get like what if we don't? What if we win next week? What is that caller gonna? What are they gonna say? They're gonna, we won, but it wasn't great.
Yes.
Well, what if we just totally dominate? Then what are they going to say? Are they going to call back in and be like, I guess I was wrong?
No.
I don't think so. I don't think that caller is probably going to admit anything because he's just certain of it all. Anyways, just a little gripe there. That's it.
Well, I've said it before. It's emotion. It's all entirely emotion. It's not intellectual. They like to pretend that they are. They like to pretend that they are being very intellectual and that this is being realistic, when in reality they're entirely being driven by their own fears. That game was anxiety-inducing for them. I know because I'm speaking for myself. And the anxiety and the fear creates anger. I know because it happens to me too. And that anger becomes overwhelming. And even by the end of the game, you spend so much time hating everything and being mad at everything. This is why I've said 1,000 times, go watch other teams. Now, it won't matter as much because they don't have that emotional investment, which is how you know it's emotional. They'll watch another team make a mistake and it's not that big of a deal because it's not that big of a deal. But for the Packers, because there's so much of an emotional investment, it's a massive deal. It's the end of the entire world. And so, of course, they're negative all the time because they watch the Packers and everything just seems like the end of the world. Everything is so horrible. Everything is wrong. Even when we win, it's like, yeah, but I was angry the whole time. And for anybody that I'm talking to right now, as opposed to talking past, if you want to argue that you're being intellectual, then tell me what it is you know. What do you know? Not feel, what do you know? What do you know about this team as compared to other teams? What do you know about our coach in the play calling? Do you know anything about the play calling? I'm not talking about generalities. I'm talking about specifics. I'm talking about tendencies. I'm talking about schematics. Do you know anything about that? Don't worry about that. Do you know what was done and why it was done? How about statistically? Do you know anything about our team as compared to other teams? Do you know about Jordan Love? Do you know about Aaron Rodgers? I'm not asking if you've watched him. I'm not asking if you watched him be impressive last week. I'm saying for the season, how has he done? Where does he succeed and where does he fail? Do you know any of these things? How about their receivers? How about their running backs or their offensive line or their coach or their scheme and tendencies, offensively or defensively? Do you even know their offensive or defensive coordinators' names, much less their schematics? Do you know what they do well and don't do well? What can you tell me about their defense outside of TJ Watt? Do you know any of their players? Do you know any of their injury situations? Do you know how well they play when they play? Do you know anything about their pressure rates? Do you know about their corners and how well they cover? Do you know what kind of defensive scheme they run and how that plays to our offensive scheme? Do you know any of these things? The answer is no. They don't know. They don't even try to learn. This is entirely emotional. They are emotionally scared, and that fear is turned to anger, and then they lash out. That is what a negative fan is. It is a scared person who turns fear into anger. Again, I know because I'm the same way. I'm a person who generally turns fear into anger, and I'm also somebody who watches the Packers and is filled with anger all the time. Don't know why, but that's the fan I am. Fortunately, again, this is why I've spent so much time trying to parse this all out, because I'm trying to learn to enjoy football. Because I at least have the ability to acknowledge that all that stuff is stupid. That I've at least acknowledged that I'm not going to be stupid enough to run to social media and say those things out loud. I'm going to get it under control, get my footing underneath me, actually look at the information, and then try to parse out the good from the bad as opposed to just vomiting out emotional nonsense. And that's why you don't usually hear or ever hear anything intellectual from negative fans, because they didn't do their homework and then say, boy, I unfortunately I came to the conclusion X, Y, and Z based on A, B, C, D, E, F. It's just, this team sucks. Matt LaFleur sucks. This team's never going to win as long as this person is our quarterback or coach or whoever. Turns out the Jeff Hafley was a terrible hire. Stupid. Ugh. They always have that thing where it's like, it's like I'm angry, but then it like has to get ramped up. I'm not getting enough anger out, so it kind of has to go, ugh. That's why you don't see negative fans get into those types of arguments. They don't care. And that's the weirdest part to me, is not realizing the fact that you don't know anything means you don't know what you're talking about and are probably wrong. And this goes well beyond sports, but the amount of people that believe so unbelievably firmly that they're correct while also knowing that they know nothing is crazy to me.
Hey Ryan, it's Daniel from Milwaukee again.
Super quiet for some reason.
As I'm listening to your podcast this morning, talking about, how much parity it is in the NFL, and just like, good teams play good bad football and bad teams play good football. It does make me cherish each and every win. I mean, I don't care how we win. I would rather have an ugly win than to have a beautiful loss. And for the people who whine and moan on social media saying, well, yeah, but it could have been 6-0, or we could be 6-0, or we almost lost to the Cardinals, all this stuff. It's like we could play that card, we could flip that card around and play that game. Well, we could be 0-6. But instead, we're not.
Right.
Because, like what you said, we're a good football team. We're consistent. We are making the plays when we need to make the plays. I just don't understand why people have to be so down and so, negative on a dub. I mean, even some L's.
Well, and again, who did better than the Packers against the Cardinals? Did the Colts do better? They won by 4 points. How about the Seahawks? They're looking like they might be a playoff team this year. They won by 3. How about the 49ers? They're looking like a real good team. They won by 1 point The Panthers and Saints lost to the Cardinals. So who did better than the Packers against the Cardinals? Who did better? Did anybody do better? The answer is no. Not a single team did better. But again, all people look at is this is a 2-4 team on a 4-game skid, and it was close and you almost lost, and that's pathetic. And yeah, to your point, like I've been saying, losing is an option. And that's the biggest point of hypocrisy that I see from so many people is we treat them like they are a 1-win team while holding them to a standard of an undefeated team. It's complete nonsense. If the Packers were as bad as you pretend that they are, then why would you be disappointed in the Cardinals' win? Shouldn't they have lost to the Cardinals if they're as bad as you think they are? Shouldn't they have lost to the Cincinnati Bengals if they're as bad as you think that they are? Well, no, I just call them bad. I say that they're that bad. But I prove that they're that bad by holding them to a standard as though I believed that they're the number 1 team in football. So I expect you to be the number 1 team in football, and because you're not, you are now the 25th ranked team in football. It's so thoughtless. But again, these are not thinking people, these are emotional people. Come on.
We can take.
I tell you what, I'm gonna skip the rest of this call, Daniel. It's a good call. I can't hear you, dude, and I don't know if anybody else can hear you. So I don't know if you had it on speaker or what the situation was, but it's super, super quiet. So sorry about that, dude.
What's going on? I'm still asleep on it.
What's up, dude?
What's going on, Packernet podcast? I'm on Firefighter. How y'all doing? It's the morning after the W. I would have called yesterday like a lot of people did, I'm sure. This will probably be a quick episode or a quick call for me. I'm just trying to basically get this in and out. I love the fact that Parsons got to show off, have his career day. He stepped up. And it showed why we traded for him. It shows the difference of a great pass rusher can do for your organization. All right? So I love that. My two concerns basically are a team concern and a position concern, which I'm sure everybody already talked about. Maybe you can look at it. You might even probably talk about it before you play this. One is that I go with the least. I don't know if it's the cornerback position or the linebackers able to cover. But the holes that were open for passing, I feel like you or me or some family members of the Packernet podcast can complete these passes. Like wide open. It's like crazy. Like I don't understand. And again, I don't know if that falls on the cornerbacks, the secondary as a whole, or maybe they just get in the spot where the linebacker is supposed to be at. That is so aggravating. All right, but most importantly, this is the next one. I feel like we play to the level of our competition. We've seen it too many times this year. And this might not even be this year. That might always be a Packers thing. I don't know. But, we should have blown them out. They didn't have their starting quarterback. And they literally, they was leading the whole game. It's amazing. Like I said, the Browns game, hell, you know what I'm saying? Damn, it was the Bengals game. I don't know. It's almost a little bit like, oh snap, who knows? But anyway, I just feel like we're playing to the level of our competition. I miss the days of, we put up 40 on the team, be like 49 or something like that, or just blowing teams out.
To be fair, that was just 3 weeks ago that we put up 40 on a team. We didn't blow them out because the defense didn't hold up, but you mentioned 40, and that was 3, games ago.
Play a good team. I'm assuming we'll play better, but we're not showing out like I feel we should against lower competition. And that's just concerning. Now, the only non-concerning part will be the negative part in me, that I know you say you have some
3 minutes got him. Just a couple things. I'm with everybody in terms of how it feels. It doesn't feel like we're always putting our best out there. But again, when you actually go through each individual game, I don't know that there's that much to be disappointed in. I've gone over the Cardinals thing 1,000 times. Nobody has done better against the Cardinals than the Packers did. Cincinnati Bengals, we actually beat by 9 points. It was a 2-score victory. We scored 27 when there's nothing wrong with that against the Bengals, and holding them, after seeing what they did to Pittsburgh, to 18 is actually extremely impressive. The Dallas game was disappointing as far as the defense is concerned, but we also put up 40 on them. That's a good thing. The Browns game, and this is kind of this is the 2 weeks where one offense disappointed, one defense disappointed. Scoring 10 against Cleveland, great defense, but still, that's not good enough. But they held them to 13, which is very good. And then the 2 weeks prior, as far as like burying teams, we won by 9 again. And then the week before that, we beat the Lions by 14. So we did bury the Lions. We did kind of bury Washington. We did sort of bury the Bengals. We beat Arizona on the road by as big of a margin as anybody should have expected. The only somewhat disappointing games were Cleveland and Dallas, and it was only one side of that actually failed. And everybody keeps talking about why we need to see 4 quarters, which, again, is somewhat unreasonable. I doubt very many teams play offense, defense, special teams for 4 quarters with no mistakes. I kind of know what you mean, where it's like an entire half of doing nothing, and then you kind of start to pick it up, or the defense falls apart at the end or whatever, but the reason I'm being so specific with the wording is because that's an unfair standard, and we need to kind of tighten up what exactly our expectations actually are. But on the flip side of that, how many disappointing performances have there been? Offensively, as far as I'm concerned, it's 1, and it was Cleveland. 27 against Detroit, 27 against the Commanders, 27 against the Bengals, 27 against the Cardinals, and 40 against the Cowboys. I don't have a problem with that. Defensively, 13 against the Lions, 18 against the Commanders, 13 against the Browns, 18 against the Bengals, 23 against the Cardinals, 40 against the Cowboys. Obviously, the Cowboys game is not good. Every other game, really don't have a problem with that. Even 23 against the Cardinals, it looks like, 23, it's not as good as the other. It's not as good, but 23 points is not a lot of points in the NFL. Like I said, for me, 24 is kind of that dividing number. Under 24 is a good day, over 24 is a bad day, or vice versa for the offense. We have been over 24 every game but 1. We have held teams to under 24 comfortably every game except 2, and every game except 1, comfortably every game except 2. So, again, I don't want to get too doom and gloom about it as though something is horribly wrong. Everything is kind of right, it's just not as good as it should be, or could be. But it's not the case that everything has just kind of been bad and that we're barely beating everybody and it just kind of looks, sloppy and we're getting lucky. And no, we're kind of, the defense, if it wasn't for that 40, man, 13, 18, 13, 18, 23, that's crazy good. And there's just so much like, our corner is like the worst corner group we've ever had. And if it wasn't for Parsons, our defense would be terrible and all. Like, our run defense is bad. Like, what are you talking about? I don't understand. We're giving up 3.5 yards per game. It's the 4th best in the NFL. Passing, we're giving up 5 net yards per attempt. That's the 3rd best in the NFL. We've given up the 2nd least rushing yards in the entire NFL. So we've kind of built up this stuff in our mind, and this is why it's good to go back and actually look at things and look at the stats and the rankings and all that, because especially in years like this where we all feel it. We all feel like something's wrong, something's not good, something's bad, but we allow ourselves to just spiral with social media and just feelings and all that. And it becomes the telephone game where the next thing you know, we are a 1-win team. All of us are shocked to see that we're at the top of the NFC. It's a little weird, but it shouldn't be nearly as shocking as we're making it out to be, because we all in our minds feel like we're a terrible team. We lost 1 game. It was week 3. That's it.
Oh, wow. I actually went over 3 minutes, and I said it was going to be a quick call. I must have got lost in translation, talking slow. Anyway, my concern is, again, that we play against the level of our competition, and it's annoying. Like, the negative part of me, because there's always positive and negative, it's like, we are not going to go far in the playoffs. Like, doing that, But the positive part of me is like, hey, but we're playing good teams, so we'll play better. So I'm just fighting that. But I just want to have a win. Like, we dominated. Like, they have a chance in the world, I just enjoy that feeling. But I'm not going to complain about a W.
Well, the first 2 weeks of the season, that's exactly how we felt. We just haven't had exactly that feeling since, but we can't act like it's been an entire season of that. It's just been a handful of weeks, and there's not really any of them where you can point to and say that was just a terrible performance. Again, at best, Cleveland was a bad offensive performance and Dallas was a bad defensive performance. And to be fair, the bad offensive performance was against one of the best defenses in football. The bad defensive performance was against one of the best offenses in football. Not that that makes it okay, but it's, there's nothing catastrophic here that we've seen this year.
We got the win. Shout out to the kicker. I don't know if anybody gonna mention him yet.
Oh, yeah.
But, man, I don't want to say, we should cut our regular kicker. It is a what have you done for me lately. This man, he's hitting records. Just got off playing from teaching, a week ago. Like, I wish we could stash him on our practice squad, but as soon as we cut him, so I know a team can pick him up.
Yeah.
I don't know. But, I'm all about saving money. Like, hey, we can pay this dude half because he's kicking out of his mind. I don't understand what's going on. Either way, though, shout out to Gooch for that. That's another Gooch pickup. Please re-sign Gooch. I'm on the re-sign Gooch bandwagon. As far as LaFleur, I do love LaFleur, but I don't know if what's going on with our offense. We had our starting O-line, so there shouldn't have been an excuse. But the run blocking still wasn't that good. Like, it's really all our running back doing a lot of the work. So I don't understand what's going on with that. It's just weird, very, very weird. Like I said, our offense wasn't doing anything, and I don't know how the Cardinals defense is, if they're a top 10 unit, but we were struggling. Meanwhile, their offense was just gashing us, even with the pass rush. It was like the only people on our defense doing anything were the D-line. Everybody else, like, if everybody talking about, Parsons, but if Gary didn't get that sack fumble, we probably still lost the game. So I feel like we're wasting our D-line. Now, the good thing is all our main players on the D-line are going to be on our team again next year, so it's no big deal. So it's not like this is all. But, everybody's supposed to get better every year. So all the other teams will get better, but our cornerbacks, the secondary, is something linebackers coverage need to step up. It is horrendous. Because, again, if we play a good quarterback, if we got these garbage teams and garbage quarterbacks doing this to our secondary, it's over. Anyway, go Pack, go.
Yeah, and to that point, again, we use way too strong a language here. I mean, again, I think it was a caller, that or I saw it somewhere, I don't know, but the idea that if not for Parsons, our defense would be bad. Like you pointed out, I think that's completely unfair to Rashawn, who's a big part of this defense. It's also unfair to Evan Williams, who's playing out of his mind, Javon Bullard, who's actually playing quite well, Quay Walker, who had an incredible day, Xavier McKinney, who is a solid back-end safety. Keyshawn, honestly, has not done anything terrible. And even some of our defensive tackles have been playing well at least the last week, if not 2 weeks. So it's kind of like we're taking Nate Hobbs and I don't know what and just saying, rather than Nate Hobbs is a problem and I wish we would put in Valentine or had somebody better, and it'd be cool if we had Wyatt back to make the defense even better. We instead take it to the other side and say we have only one good player, and if it wasn't for that player, we'd have the worst defense in football. You know what I mean? Like that. I'm not saying you're necessarily saying that, but it's just that is like the tone of, even when we try to be positive, it's like, I mean, I guess we're doing okay, but let's be honest. If it wasn't for Parsons, we'd be terrible. If it wasn't for this one thing, if things had been a little bit different, we'd be doing that. And by the way, what does that even mean? Like, well, if that one thing didn't happen, then we would have lost. And if that one thing didn't happen in the other game, then we would have been da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, but that's not what happened. So what is the point of what you're saying? Wins and losses are nothing but just a bunch of random individual events that happened. And yeah, if you change the positive events and make them negative events, you end up losing more games than winning. That's true of all teams. So what are we even getting at here? And again, it kind of just comes back to, well, you need to win by 20, so I'd have to change like 10 things. Okay, well, I don't know what to tell you, but I think everybody, even in an attempt to be positive, still is viewing things from too negative of a place. There are negatives, but it's not as negative as we're making it out to be. Did we take a break yet? I don't know. Let's take a break. We got beer cheese on the other end.
Hey Ryan, beer cheese Benny on my lunch break here.
Yo.
So, am I understanding this correct that LaFleur was going to send out the field goal unit to tie the game there on the 4th and 2 or whatever, the one where Love eventually passed it to Kraft to get the first down. But what I understand is Love was like, no, dude, we're freaking going for it. It looked like he was like screaming at him. I think this is what I hear. I actually didn't even see it. This is what I'm hearing. Or I thought I heard. Somebody let me know if this is right or wrong.
Matt LaFleur said he saw the dejected look on his face was the comment that was made. I don't think there was any screaming.
But we lose the game if we don't do that. Or if we just try to tie it. Like, holy crap.
No, we don't know that. It's possible we lose. It's possible we don't know what would have happened.
Man, is LaFleur really holding us back like this? Like, we can't have this, man. And I'm glad, honestly, that, I mean, maybe other coaches would be like, no, we're not doing it, and like just adamant. But holy crap, dude, I got to look into this a little bit more because I really am hearing this. Like, I thought I heard it anyways. Somebody please let me know. Is that true that Jordan Love was like, no, dude, we're going for it? And like they were like, he was screaming at him like, no, Matt, come on.
First of all, even if that did happen, I see that every Sunday. The quarterback screaming at the coaches, no, I want to go. And sometimes the coaches listens and sometimes they don't. But that's not my understanding of what happened. Again, Matt LaFleur said he saw the look on his face and was like, screw it, let's go for it.
And, I guess credit to Matt for trusting him, But at the same time, like, he was okay with tying there, dude. I don't know. But
well, that wasn't the end of the game, though. Again, we're getting back to this whole thing where it's like you were okay with the tie, you weren't even trying to win. There are different ways of trying to win and lose at the end of that game. And it just kind of comes down to which path you want to choose. But both of them are attempts to win. If we go for it on 4th and don't get it, there's an extremely high, let's put it this way, there's a higher chance that we make that field goal than convert that 4th down. So it's a higher risk, and if we don't convert the 4th down, we pretty much lost the game. So there is an argument to be made for kick it, tie it, then you're going to have to, get a stop and see what happens or win in overtime or whatever the case ends up being. But, it's not a matter of he didn't want to win and then he got yelled at and he was like, fine, I guess we'll go win the stupid game. I hate winning. This is so dumb. Play, idiot.
I'm just so happy that we have a quarterback really who you've heard in my last few calls I've dogged on for being kind of an idiot. He has had many of these game-winning drives or whatever, or late fourth quarter drives where he gets us the lead. And so at that point, it's just up to the defense, which over the years we've been scarred by where Rodgers would do it and then it would mean nothing. And it's starting to be that way with this defense. However, we got Micah Parsons, so that's what's up. But, yeah, I just love that Love is able to do that kind of thing. And he's just got that confidence, man. So I think we just need to let Love loose. LaFleur needs to stop holding him back. And we're going to be balling, dude.
Well, and again, I'm going to continue just saying he's not holding him back until anybody can provide me any evidence whatsoever that Jordan Love, who has one of the highest average depths of target in the entire NFL, is somehow being held. This has been a narrative since Jordan Love got in here that he's being held back. He's being held. I've never seen anyone provide any evidence for that whatsoever. None. I'm not going to listen to anybody say that anymore until somebody provides me with some kind of evidence, because it's just people saying things, and I don't understand that.
I'm worried about next week. This next week coming out with Rodgers, I feel like he's going to pick up this defense apart with these quick passes. Like, that's what Rodgers is good at, man. Like, just reading the defense and being quick. I am really truthfully scared, like, that we're not going to be able to defend this crap, man. But Steelers defense isn't very good, so, I mean, realistically, if we only need to get a couple stops, and the offense should be able to get it done.
Well, yeah, I'm definitely nervous about the Steelers game. I decided to peek ahead a little bit. I've been doing some work on our Sunday games that are coming up, and some of what the betting folks have been talking about and whatnot. And although the Packers are still favorites, every data point makes me nervous. And no, it's not the one where we haven't won there since the 70s or something. I could not care any less about those kinds of stupid stats. I hate those stats with a passion. But all the other stats, they make me pretty uncomfortable. We just took a break, but let's take another one because this is usually when we take our last break.
Hey, Ryan. Just calling in, giving my thoughts on the Cardinals game real quick.
Yo.
So, actually, I thought the game was pretty good. The first half, yeah, that was not great. I mean, I will be, like, the first to admit that I was one of the guys that was like, yeah, I'm out. Like, this sucks. Like, I was pissed.
Yeah.
I had to, like, I couldn't watch the second half. I had to go to work, and everything sucked and whatever. But, you know, this team fought back, and I had to watch the highlights later, but, you know, this team really did fight back, and the adversity they went through to get this win. I mean, imagine having to do your walkthrough in the airport. You know, they didn't have any time to prepare or to really, you know, get ready in this climate for this game. I mean, I know it's not that different. Maybe it's not, I don't know what it's like in Arizona right now, but, you know, still though, like, they had to do their walkthrough in an airport. So, and then they had to go to their hotel and then get what little rest they could and then come play this game. I mean, you know, yeah, there was a lot of adversity, and, you know, so maybe they weren't as sharp as they needed to be, you know? And, you know, the Arizona Cardinals, they could easily be a 5-win team. They've lost all of their games in the fourth quarter by a combination of, what was it, like 7 points?
Right.
That's crazy.
And against good teams.
They could easily be a 5-win team. Easily. If just a few things had just fallen their way. You know, the same thing could happen with us too, you know, like anything could happen. The Cardinals, I don't think are as bad of a team as we think they are. You know, they played pretty good on both sides of the ball, I thought. And so with all the mistakes and everything that we did to give this game away, we fought hard. And I thought Matt LaFleur really, I enjoyed the intensity. I did. On that 4th and 2, that is the right call. Even if you don't make it. Even if you don't. Because if you kick the field goal and it's tied at 23 apiece, you're giving the Cardinals the ball and telling them to go play. At a time in which your defense, you don't know if you can trust them to step up to the plate and make the stop. So then if they score, this game is over. So yeah, you have to go for it. So yeah, right call there, even if you don't make it. So yeah, good call, good game.
Yeah, we'll get to part 2 in a second. Just to get back again to that point about the Cardinals and all the close games and all that kind of stuff. You mentioned how the other teams could have easily won. Another way to look at this is when you look at the Colts, for example. Colts are a very, very good football team. They're 6-1. Their only loss was to the Rams. The Cardinals nearly beat them 27-31. The next week, the Colts went on to play the Chargers, a very good team, solid team, however you want to phrase it, 38-24. So, I mean, we look at, for example, I think generally you'd look at the Chargers and the Cardinals and you'd say, well, the Chargers are a better team, right? The Chargers, prior to that game, going into it, they're a 4-2 football team. Cardinals are a 2-4 football team. Okay, well, the Colts played them back-to-back, nearly lost to the Cardinals, and then pummeled the Chargers by 14 points. Seahawks are another good team. They're only a 2-loss team, and their only 2 losses came against the Buccaneers and the 49ers, who are 2 very good teams. Of their wins, they nearly lost to the Cardinals 23-20. Outside of that, they beat the living dog crap out of the Pittsburgh Steelers 31-17, curb stomped the Saints 44-13, beat the Jaguars 20-12, and beat the Texans 27-19. They have beat the living dog crap out of every team by at least 8 points, and by many more points than that in many situations. The Cardinals were a 3-point win. 49ers, very good football team. They've lost 2 games. Buccaneers, good team, and Jaguars, decent enough team. The Cardinals game was a 1-point win. This is a team that beat the Rams by 3. They beat the Cardinals by 1. They beat the Seahawks by 4. They beat the Cardinals by 1. Beat the Falcons by 10. So yeah, they very easily could be a 6-0 team right now. I mean, if you just look at games, let's just say within 3 points and just flip those games, the wins to losses and losses to wins, they're a 5-2 football team. If you look at 4 points and you switch those losses to wins and those wins to losses, they are a 6-0 football team. So I don't think they're a bad team. And again, the whole backup quarterback situation or conversation is nonsense. Because again, I don't know that their backup isn't better than their starter. It's at least debatable. Pretty sure PFF had Brissett higher because their passing grades were about even and Brissett had a higher rushing grade. Anyway, sorry, part 2.
Yeah, it's JD again. Just one last thought real quick. Yeah, this season is awesome. More of this, please. Like, this is football, what is meant to be football. Like, the fact that every team kind of has a chance, not every team, but most every team has a chance. This is what football is all about. I mean, we're looking at teams like the Carolina Panthers and the New York Giants, teams that were nobodies last year, and now we're looking at them thinking, hey, they might be competitors this year. You know, are they good teams? We don't know. I mean, all these teams, we don't know, and that's great because I just read a thing that said, oh, the Packers are the last spot in the NFC for Super Bowl odds. Like, Super Bowl odds? How could you even predict a Super Bowl favorite right now? Who out of this group is a Super Bowl favorite on AFC or NFC? Who? The Kansas City Chiefs? I mean, they're playing some good football right now, but they've sure lost a lot. The Philadelphia Eagles, like, yeah, sure, they won yesterday, but, you know, they're not looking too sharp, you know, like, so who's the favorite? Who? Like, Tampa Bay, maybe? I don't know. It's just, you don't know, and that's the beauty of it, is I like the fact that all these teams are kind of clawing and fighting and being, I don't know, respected. Like, this is cool. More of this. Like, I like this season, this dogfight season, this mentality. Yeah, more of that, please. It's a lot better than just like, oh, here's another crap game I gotta watch between 2 crap teams. Like, no, this game might be fun to watch. You don't know. Like, that's the beauty of the season. Anyway, I gotta go. See ya.
I agree. I enjoy a lot more games this year than I usually do. Almost every game I'm sitting here just thinking I don't have a clue who's going to win this game. Even tonight's game, Minnesota and the Chargers. I mean, I know the Chargers should win. I don't have a clue who's going to win this game. I really don't. Omar, what's up?
What's going on? It's Omar the Firefighter. How y'all doing? I forgot to add this in my last call. I probably missed it for the episode or not. But I wanted to shout out Jordan Love. He played a good game, even though the offense didn't, kill it. I wouldn't put a lot of that on him. I'll probably put that more a little bit on the floor and the offensive line just run blocking. But I kind of, this is the first game where I felt like, I can trust him. Like, he's playing good, and I really feel like, not just first game I have to trust him, but like, I'm feeling comfortable that he's more comfortable. He's not doing dumb stuff. He's running with the ball, which he could use versus like a couple of years ago. he was just like, oh, I'm just going to toss it up in there. You know, it's like he's being smart. So I wanted to give him a shout out with that. You know, that's my quarterback. You know what I'm saying? That's how I'm feeling like right now. So I just wanted to give him a special shout out. I'm proud of him, and I hope he keeps progressing. I hope this is not the top of his game. I just hope it's the bottom, so he just keeps rising up. And he can be definitely a top 5 quarterback. I mean, we saw that at the end of his first year, but like I feel like he can get there again. He just needs his supporting cast to help him out a little bit. But also shout out Golden. Golden, I'm tired of blaming LaFleur, but he is a good receiver and he should be out there damn near every play. And it's like, I don't feel like we're showcasing him enough. We do too much subbing in and out, which is the same for our starting defensive line. Like, I get that you want to have Rashawn Gary and Micah fresh, but like, come on, you got to sub them out like every other play. Like, you got Watt and Garrett, you know what I'm saying, staying out there dang near 75% of the game. And we'd be like, all right, you took 2 plays in, take them out. Also run down, take them out. Like, why don't you at least have one of them on there? Like, take Gary out for a second, still have Parsons out there, take Parsons out there, Gary. It's like groups. All right, back up, you're in. It's like, you know, that's just, to me, I think that's crazy. And that falls on the coaching. I don't understand it. But either way, I did love when Michael went out for play. He got like Gatorade ran back on there and got a sack. I thought that was hilarious. But either way, that's just a little one to give special shout outs for the game. I left the shout outs out and I appreciated that. So anyway, go back, go.
Well, I'm gonna do that thing again where I mentioned that we gotta know what we're talking about before we. So here's the situation. Romeo Doubs ran. Well, let's put it this way: receiving plays. How many snaps they played out there on pass plays? Romeo Doubs 31, Tucker Kraft 31, Matthew Golden 30. The only other receiver to get a single snap was Dontavian Wicks, and he was out there for 9 snaps. So there was almost no rotation. It's Romeo and Golden, and that's about it. In fact, Dontavian Wicks was our, 77% of his snaps were in the slot. Even he hardly even went on the field. So Golden is as much a starting receiver right now as Romeo Doubs. He's getting as many snaps, -1. He's out there as many as Tucker is. Well, at least as far as receiving, running routes and whatnot, it was 28, 27, 27, and then for Wicks, again, 9. So, no, he's getting all the opportunities that Romeo Doubs is. He's out there as much as Romeo Doubs is. So that is 1 and 2. Now, I know a lot of other people are like, well, yeah, well, you know, he's being buried as far as what the route progressions are and whatnot. I don't know that. I think it's possible that, again, he's being used as a speed guy on clear out options and stuff, but I don't know that. I know that he's out there running routes and is an option to throw to on every single play, and it's up to Golden to get open and Jordan Love to decide to pull the trigger to him. Otherwise, you and I are going to have to sit down and actually go back and watch it and see, is he getting open? If he's not, is it because of the route he was running? Was it intentional to not get opens, to clear out space for guys like Tucker underneath? Was it just a bad route that was just never going to get open, even though it was intended to get open, which would be Matt LaFleur's fault? Was it a man opportunity and he just couldn't separate? Was it a deeper route and the pressure just got there, and so there wasn't an opportunity to get to him by the time he got open? Was he open and Jordan decided to force the ball to Romeo Doubs because that's his boy? Don't know. But I know that Romeo ran 28 routes and was targeted 8 times. Matthew Golden ran 27 routes and was targeted 4 times. The why, I don't know. All right, I'm going to leave it at that for now. We got a ton of Garrett. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 calls in a row from Garrett, so tomorrow will be Garrett Day. Might have to go back to our 2-call maximum thing again for a while or something, I don't know. Everybody got really mad for a while when there were so many back-to-back calls. But I'm not hearing any complaining, so we'll leave it go for now. Y'all have a good rest of your night. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye-bye.